I recently received a trade from a fellow Discord user, and he wanted a Halo Reach Zealot in return. Starting with the chest piece here, I wanted to work slowly and carefully. I took off the main chest piece from the actual figure itself, reducing a lot of the bulk that would have been added, and I started working with green stuff. Now, if you haven't used green stuff before, you can actually find it on eBay. That's where I get mine. Just type in green stuff on eBay, and it'll pop right up. Once the main part of the chest was done, I started to wrap around the back piece as well. This was going to give a lot of the side bulk to the actual figure itself, and I did that on both sides. I added the little holes that were in the front of the chest piece, and I started on the feet as well. Now, I wanted to make the feet look game accurate because I thought that was a really cool detail that they did in Halo Reach. After that, I moved on to more of the ankle. Once that was done, I started on the thigh armor. Now, this looked a little bit more intimidating than it actually was, but when it was done, the actual thigh armor itself looked fantastic. Moving on to the back, I didn't really have a very good picture for the back, so I just kind of freestyled it, and I thought it turned out really well. Starting with the Field Marshal's head here, I had to give it the overall shape and design. Now, I've made around 6 or 7 of these, so I kind of have an idea of how I'm making it, but still it's challenging each and every time. Something about the Field Marshal's head that just gives it this weird shape, and it's always a problem for me. Added more bits and pieces around that I was eventually going to sculpt down later to give it that real nice Field Marshal look, and I moved on to the hands. Now, I wanted to give him actual elite fingers, something I've never done before. In the end product, I thought it turned out really nice. Forearm guards were super simple. Just make a diamond in your hand with some green stuff and add a little piece on top. Once that was done, I moved on to the shoulder piece. Now, the shoulder piece was a little bit more challenging, but after probably 10 or 15 minutes, I figured it out, and I made them equally on each side. Once that was done, I gave the figure a full black coat, for this would be the base color of the actual figure itself. After that, I made some lights with purple, and then I gave it a nice silver dry brush from cheap Walmart paint from Apple Barrel. Now, every single paint doesn't have to be Citadel or really nice paints. It can be cheap if you're doing a dry brush and you're using a sealant, which I did. I thought this made the figure look absolutely crazy though. Now, I wanted to give this Master Chief a different aesthetic and vibe. I wanted to make him feel more like a Doomslayer than a traditional Spartan. Cutting into his armor with this Dremel was a huge help when giving him that actual feel. Really dinged him up everywhere. I didn't save any spots from being scratched and marked. After that, I felt like his triceps looked a little small and I wanted them to be a little outrageous, so I added more green stuff to each side of the back. Then I painted them with a different skin tone color. I wanted to make it feel like he's been in the sun walking around. His arms have been bare, so I felt like his skin tone would be a little bit darker. Once that was all finished, I started with a dry brush around the whole figure. Just roughing him up a lot and making him feel like he's been through a ton of battle. I over-exaggerated the marks that I made earlier with some black paint by smudging it into the grooves and crevices. Once that was all finished, I wanted to add some blood all the way around Master Chief here. Make him feel like he's just running through Covenant enemies like you do in the Doom video game itself, and just give him a different aesthetic and look. Overall, I thought it turned out pretty awesome. fellow custom YouTuber named Wildfire actually did all my banner work and my logo work for my channel, so in return I asked him what 2 figures he would want me to customize. He said he wanted 2 jackals, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to make some weird banished looking jackals. I started digging them up just like I did with the Master Chief with my Dremel bit. Then I started painting the armor with red. Once that was finished, I wanted to add more armor to them, making them feel a little bit bulkier, so I used some green stuff and attached some shoulder pieces, considering the arms are too small. I also made a custom gun for the Jackal sniper. Using both Jackal's shields, I was able to make this guy have 2 shields on each side of his arms. I felt like it gave him that real nice Jackal skirmisher kind of feel. Once that was finished, I wanted to work on the Jackal's sniper, so I used one of these shoulder pieces that I really roughed up and added some of these big balls of green stuff on each side, really over-exaggerating the eyes. Started sculpting on the very top, giving him a small little headpiece that he would wear to increase his vision for battle and just be able to make it easier for him to snipe into maybe the dark or into the light as well. Don't really know what the advantages to these things are for the jackals, but they look cool anyway. I gave him a small little shoulder piece on the left side, nothing that really stood out too much, but just something a little different than Mega makes. Once that was finished, I started to add a little bit more red to each one of the jackals. After that was done, I started working on the headpiece, painting both eyes blue and just making a base red for the very top of the armor. I also added some red on the left side of the shoulder piece. And then I started with a silver dry brush across all the figures. Super simple, super easy, but I thought these jackals turned out absolutely fantastic, and Wildfire, I hope you enjoy them. Alright guys, they are finally finished, and all of these customs look absolutely fantastic, I think. They all have stories behind them a little bit, and I think these 2 are probably my favorite. I mean, the Zealot work on this was really nice. A Spec Ops Zealot is always really cool to add to the collection, and this is actually going to go to someone that is that I did a trade with, so this is probably one of my better figures, so I'm sure he's going to be absolutely thrilled with this. I thought this was sweet. Then for Master Chief, I like the story that I kind of gave him with the Doomslayer feel. I put blood all over him. You guys will have to let me know if that was a good idea or a bad idea. I thought it turned out pretty cool, and I really like this. This is going to be great for future mocks. I already have a few ideas for him, and yeah, I like this Master Chief a lot. Now for the 2 jackals, they are going to Wildfire. He actually did all of my banner work and my YouTube logo, so thank you so much, Wildfire, for that. I really do appreciate that. That was awesome. And these jackals look absolutely sweet, I think. Very simple figures, but sometimes that's all you really need. I just wanted to keep them simple and make them look a little banished. I definitely have to go back and put some paint in some other areas and just touch them up a tad, but other than that, they look really, really nice, and I can't wait for Wildfire to actually receive these. So there are some of my new figures. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what I should do in the comments down below. Thanks so much for all the support. I mean, my last video went a little crazy, which is awesome to see. And yeah, I'm gonna continue to grind and make awesome stuff for you guys. So I'll see you all later. Have a great rest of your day, evening, or night. Peace out.